So, um, let's share some. I don't know if I share screen or what I share, but anyway, there's the content. I just used a different presentation now, just to sidetrack this one to just tell a little bit about me for the first. My name is Vehling. I come from Germany originally. 2 years ago, I moved to Finland, to the middle of nowhere, basically. It's called Jakobstad, or to be precise, it's called Larsmo, where I'm located right now. And I come from like a hub, or like it's not an IGDA hub, but it's a network from a lot of game developers. I got educated in Berlin. I became a game producer there. It's kind of something you could study there. Like some people study to become a programmer, some people study to become like an artist or a game designer. But there's also producing, and because I was doing economics before and management and these things at university, I switched there and started to basically go all in and game producing. And that's what I pretty much do since 2012 or something like this, or when when that started. Anyway, I came here 2 years ago, and I know my wife now for almost the same amount of time. She's Finnish, Swedish speaking Finland. So we are here in the coast to Sweden. And when I came here, there was nothing. No IGDA hub, like some game developers, and everything's really small. And I come from big cities. So basically, it was a little bit like I think one scene really describes it. I got to know like one game developer, or not game developer, he's an artist. He's doing for Blizzard work, like really important, really great work internationally, but he works remotely from Jakobstad. And like I met him for coffee, and he was like, wait a second, what is the maiden name of your wife? It was like the second question or something. Never been asked that before in a city. So that's how you know how small it is. So I came here, founded a company, do a lot of external producing jobs since then, and try to start a game studio here with more or less success. And basically, it turns out here's no education, here's basically no scene. And that was kind of the whole project of getting things started here. And that's kind of the story I want to tell you and show you to what it leads, and then go into the Pizza Playtest things. That is a concept that I just stole from Munich. So in Munich, where I come from, I worked as a producer for the Catan games. It's the games, the Catan board game. Previously, they were called Settlers of Catan, but they used this, or they removed the settlers like a long time ago. And when I was there, I organized the Stammtisch, which is basically a pub evening. In Germany, you're allowed to drink beer when you're 16 and go to a pub and everything. So we met there, not necessarily drinking beer though, but like talking about games. And it started with like 20 people and became like a 200 people event every month. So there's a lot of people interested in game development, working in game development. There's big companies from remote control productions to AAC Entertainment to like a lot of smaller indie devs. And also there's like a tons of events. There's like the indie outpost, where like indie developers talk about their experience. There's a lot of people helping indie developers, or like developers in general. Like for example, with the House of Games in Berlin, or now the Games Bavaria in Munich. And there's a big and strong network, and a lot of interested people, and a lot of people in general. Funnily enough, no IGDA. Like it started, I guess, 2 years ago, the first chapter in Germany, in Berlin. But yeah, it's very strong here, but somehow not that much in Germany. Not yet, at least. So when I came to Finland, I was like, okay, I have goals. First of all, I need a company to work remotely. So I set up Tysk Games, which means like basically it's a wrong spelling of something, but it has a history of like the grandpa of my wife always called me the Tysk Poike, so the German boy. So I thought that was quite funny. So I stayed with that, and try to work as a producer externally, which I do most of the times. And as I said, try to get a studio running. So, but there's no one who joins, like at least no one from this area, and like a lot of groundwork to do. So I became very active in the community scene here in Finland. And yeah, like maybe some more things. I'm not just making events and stuff. I'm also the host of GodotFest, which is yeah, that is, which is like the biggest business conference about Godot, the game engine. So I'm very involved in like the whole Godot scene as well. And when I came here, the first thing what I did, I gathered all the game developers and met them on like a monthly basis. So we started with lunches, and that's a very easy way to get like things going, people together, like just talking about things. And it turns out here, people ex Remedy, ex Rovio. There's a millionaire who is very, very secret who made their money in Roblox games. So there's like a lot of people in the gaming community here somehow, but everything is very uncoordinated. So we work together with the university, the local one, Novia and Centria, and we founded basically the Bothnia Game Devs. It's a group of people that basically do like all these community events and also do events outside to include the students from the schools as well. And very, very shortly after, we became also IGDA Finland hub, like the official Ostrobothnia hub for the region, and could make way more things possible because now we had like the network to also cooperate with our neighboring hubs. For example, a lot with Vasa or Kawayoki. We are very close with them to work together on like when we have events to also include them. So the first thing was solved. We have a hub, we know each other, we have something to meet. Like now we have these lunches every second week, for example. And then we needed like some more groundwork basically done. And one groundwork was we want to do events. Like we want to show games, we want to play games, we want to get people involved. And we started making game jams. So there was already the university involved in these things a little bit. So I started helping with these game jams, with like other game related events. And at some point, that's now this foil actually here. I started working as a project expert or like kind of a consultant role for the Exporter Support for Games project, which basically makes it possible that I also work while doing these events and not just do this voluntary work, because I organize here every event that's happening in this area now, or like I'm involved at some point. And what we noticed when we supported these teams that are here, everyone kind of has his indie business on the side. So I tried to make games. I had some people working for me basically, or with me as well. And we made one game called My Summer Train. It's basically a vertical slice of like a very Finland focused narrative game that like of course has had its issues and stuff, but we worked on that and we figured out we need a lot of feedback to get like how the gameplay worked, how everything falls together. And we asked the people in our closest communities, and we run out fast of like these interactions. So basically somebody plays the game and then um, they they are biased on certain things because they give feedback and then you change things and they kind of have like a certain image in their head. So you always need new playtesters for your games. And the other thing is you always need to have a build that's working. And that's also like a learning that comes from like this whole concept of if you are working for yourself and nobody really plays it, there's no deadline for something, you kind of never have something. So it turns out in the community of game devs here not in Finland, here in Jakobstad and region, everyone was tinkering on some games here and there, working on the side as well on certain other things. Like two of us, or like two from this area and like four in the bigger area, worked actually full time on their games. But we noticed we need to get people looking at the games, playing the games, getting deadlines, and showcasing what we have to kind of get like this whole principle of like hey, we make games, we have to have a deadline. We cannot work 5 years like Stardew Valley or someone on like their games in their little cabin, and then come out and have like a huge success. So we started talking to university and everything, and organized a co-working space. And that was like one big thing that we had like here in this university, that we basically get all of the game developers together. Everyone, of course, works from home anyway, but like we found one day a week, which is really little, to work a co-working space. But we're on the countryside, here's nothing. So it's kind of like at least somebody's renting this area. And we basically got the game developers moving in, and then or like the most serious ones, when you want to say it like that, and then to have them work, everyone on their own game. Like at the time, everyone was working on their own project, but one day a week. And it's a very different thing when you basically have someone to talk to about your games, about what you're doing, when you have like a design decision, if you get feedback about like from certain, like from a group of people, and see basically different opinions and inputs for like whatever you're building. And that's kind of the first step that we realized it was amazingly good to have that. Here's like when we moved in, or like decided what we wanted to do. Uh, that's like was a really good first step to basically be able to start talking to each other, getting way closer to be able to communicate what the vision of the game is, basically, so that we don't just stand there by ourselves and like do whatever we think is cool, which is a valid thing to do as well, of course, but like to get like a different perspective on certain things and get questions in your own idea. I don't know, probably most of you know that if you have something in your head, a game idea or a mechanic or something like this, and then uh, in your head everything works perfectly fine, and like if that would always work, you would never need to prototype anyway. But most of the times there's like a lot of like views basically that were not in your own, that you didn't talk about. And when you turn the camera, basically you shift perspective, then you notice like, oh yeah, I never thought about it that way. And these moments we had a lot with the co-working space. And then that lead us that a lot of people were basically, I wouldn't say jealous, but like got to know these things, because we host, like, as I said, events normally every 3 months. And then it came like, hey, we should also talk about the other games. And as I said before, it became at some point a little bit not boring, but you got to know the games, what everyone is doing, basically, because the community is so small. And then when you're working on something, the other ones know what you're working on. They know basically the decisions, they were there. So it was easier to get people, to get new games in, to get new like talking points, and to help other people out, but also get new input in. So we organized something called the Pizza Playtest, which is a concept from Germany, which I stole. Wait a second, maybe I can get an email up from the newsletter, which is this is the Pizza Playtest. Um, and that's kind of the original, or like where it comes from. And the idea from the Pizza Playtest is pretty simple. Like, because like Munich devs struggle the same thing. Nobody's allowed to work to talk about their work usually. And Lars, one of the guys, came up with basically like there's a lot of it's easy to get sponsorships for these events. Like usually someone who's in the gaming industry who's doing well, like is happy to pay for some pizzas to help out fellow developers, or like getting some companies in. So in Munich, it basically started out that as a kind of sightseeing tour to visit different offices, because like a lot of people have offices there. And the idea is that every month another company is hosting this event, is like hosting the Pizza Playtest. One time I did that, for example, as well for the company I was working for in Germany. And we, like, the company is paying them for the pizza, and provides a lot of space for computers, basically. And other people have to register for this event and come and can showcase their games. And we called it Friendly A, so it's kind of like an NDA kind of thing, because like in Germany, I don't know how it is in Finland actually, but an NDA is not legally binding really. So basically, there's like it's very the side of like how much it's really worth it to a German is very little, and game developers always talk anyway. So it's kind of like what happens there stays there. So it's this kind of rule that when you go there, when you play something, you don't make any screenshots or pictures or anything, and you don't talk about what was there. And then it happens that more and more people join these like these playtests, and also bigger and bigger companies joined these playtests and were basically going with the same rules. That um, there were a lot of developers that play your game, that give you very good input of what works, what doesn't work yet, who understand what gray boxes is, what like how level structures have to be, and everyone, like there's different experts of like different things there. So it was really good to get like basically a very secret playtest out with a lot of people without having it official in there. And it became so big that at some point we had, or like they had to say that just the people who showcasing a game are allowed to come actually and play there, because like as I said, like you don't talk about what's happening there, and it should be kind of like a more smaller group. That was the original one, and it worked really, really well. Like usually it's really nice to get the developers together, but in Germany there's so much going on, so you wouldn't go to every pizza playtest, unlike, for example, here in our region now. And also there will be always new games that you never saw, and that worked amazingly great to do it once a month. And there's, as I said, an event every week or something like this. And I I got inspired by this because I work together with Lars as well, but also I've been hosting these events in Munich and participated a lot. And we wanted to make something similar. So we started basically organizing these things also here. But because we are smaller, and it doesn't make sense that we don't have so many people here in this region. Like Jakobstad has, I guess, 20,000 people living in there, or maybe 25. It's a really small area. The next city is Vasa, is 1.5 hours away. So it's kind of like every game developer here. So we wanted to have it a little bit more open, and there's not so much secrecy anyway. So we don't talk about our customer projects. I still work as a producer for the German company on games I cannot tell, but and not show, of course. But I wanted to kind of like make it a little bit more open and get more people in the scene. So we organized different kinds of events. We started with, for example, the Christmas party end of the year, which was where we the first time gathered all the people from Kauhajoki, Vasa, Jakobstad, Kokkola into one location, and get basically everyone on board. Had some presentations, was a great time, but also showcased some games and played some games. But we wanted to get that further. We wanted to let more people play. So we that's also the Christmas party basically. Um, it was at an arcade, which was also like a lot of people played all kinds of games, because like when do you have the possibility to play 150 games? So it didn't work so good with like playing your own games or like indie games. So we made it in our office, the next one. And here it's Mario Kart, but we also played, I promise, other games from us. And there was physical games, but there were also um, other games like made by some developers here. And because we were so small, or we are so small, that basically the same 5 to 8 people, or 5 to 10 people maybe, who work on a game actively in Jakobstad and region are there. We started to invite other hubs every time. We also started to go with like people from Sweden coming over and like showcasing the game, because we have a ferry connection from Vasa to Umeå, for example. So it's kind of like showing what they are working on, showing what we are working on. And it really, really helped to get like a big group of people having like a nice get together. You saw there's like drinks, there's pizza, there's like basically also other games like Mario Kart, for example, here. And it's just like a fun getting together. And the highlight is always playing these games. And we changed it a little bit that we played the games on the big screen and everyone gave feedback, because otherwise it was such a small setting that everyone basically, like half of the people already saw what you did and the other one didn't when you played on like just one small computer screens. So we kind of switched that to the big screen and like played like all kinds of games made by the people in the area, and got a lot of feedback, and of course other games as well. Like for example, this one very classic, I've been told, Finnish like hockey, table hockey game, which I'm really bad at, by the way, and other games. So that worked really, really well. But we also run out, even if we do that every 3 months, and even if we kind of like get people from other hubs in, we noticed we run out of people giving feedback here as well. So we started to make it even bigger, even more public, getting more people in that plays the games. So there was an event here in the Jakobstad University, or Novia University, or Jakobstad in general. And we also decided to showcase the games there, here, IGDA Finland, by the way. And that was also a great success, to get basically the people who would be the customers in the end just come in, play, and get feedback like from everyone. And uh, we had great success with this, but these events are very seldomly, because like you get, at least in our area, not hundreds of people into like a hall to watch like games, because often there's other things as well going on. This is, by the way, some art from the Summer Train game that is stalled now. And yeah, that's kind of like the bigger thing that we did. And basically the feedback that we got, or like that we had from like all the events, were like, okay, that works really, really well, with like, but it gives a different kind of feedback. So there are these two flavors of the Pizza Playtest, let's call them. One is the public event, like doing that with people who in the end would maybe buy your game or play, like, or be a customer with like people who are not in the gaming industry. And there's this event with having the people that make actually games and like have like a more expert opinion on things. So both voices are really important to hear, but the most important was like to have the people seeing it, giving feedback, talking about it, and like having people play your game, and like figuring out that, for example, the UI is totally horrible and nobody gets to know, like, can work with it, but it works for you as a developer. And these things is something that make or break a game in the end. And yeah, so we started to do these events. We now have it regularly every 3 months about. We try to have every half year like one of the bigger events. So for example, there's a Sommerfest, but we will not show games there. We decided now in Vasa. And there's also like the Science Night, for example, which is in October or something, where we will have like a lot of visitors again, showcasing games to that. And what changed also with the small indie teams that were here, or like one of the biggest change was actually that people had a date they knew they have to show something. So when there's like basically everyone coming together to play a game, and you're like one of the people who make a game, and everyone, maybe you even showcase your game and you want to show the progress, there's like suddenly a date every 3 months here where you have to have something. You have to have a build, you have to have progress, you have to be a little further with everything, and you cannot kind of idle where you were 3 months ago, because everyone will see it. And that changed the mindset of like the local devs enormously from our region, at least, because suddenly it's not like you're sitting at your home office like I do right now, and nobody is looking at what I'm doing, and I'm kind of like watching TikTok the whole day or something like this. Suddenly it's changed to, oh, I have a deadline. I need to make myself a milestone plan. I want to have like at least the feedback in, plus like some new content or features or whatever, to showcase a certain mechanic better. And I don't have a screenshot from the game. Oh, I'm working on this one here, for example. This is the current project, really secret for me. Um, and yeah, basically, this mindset was the thing that changed everything. That people suddenly are way more aware, have something to play, and basically everyone you can ask now is like, hey, next week we have an investor here, or we have a publisher, or we have a great opportunity here. They have something to show and they have something to say about their games. And also changed that they made their way more thinking about what game they're actually doing, way more defending of if the idea is working, if the target group works, about who is your target group, about who do you make this game for, who do you want to sell it, is it like a hobby project, is it something you want to make money with, and so on. Like there's so many questions and also so many experiences that everyone run into, because basically game development is problem solving, and everyone has like had certain problems, and a lot of people or fellow devs already figured out the answers to whatever your question is. So that helped enormously as well to talk about like roadblocks, milestones, and basically how your game is and for who. And also we will have like later play session. That's kind of a thing that comes then as well, with like understanding certain things that are not done, seeing where you have to work on things that people don't get. Often it's UI, but sometimes it's the fantasy. Sometimes it's kind of like for you as a developer, super simple because you mentioned it. It's kind of a sci-fi thing, and it's like very clear for you what this role entails, but for other ones it's not. So it's also like a very good to see what you should focus on to basically convince your idea, because if your fellow devs doesn't understand it, a publisher or someone with money will not understand it either. And yeah, that's pretty much it. How it helped really, really much to the people here to ship it. There's one game finished in all of the time. I said we're not that many, so it's kind of like from stuck to shipped. It's a little high taken with the title, I have to admit, but it's one game shipped in that time. That was part of these feedback processes, and what helped a lot was like having things ready for example, hey, we have tickets for Nordic games. Do you want to join us? We pay your travel and everything, but you have to have a game. And these situations, for example, was really, really good to have like this infrastructure in place to just like get out a message and get like people who can join. Because like some of these projects that I was talking about, and that's also in Helsinki, by the way, they somehow have money and they have to spend it. And sometimes it's really like on these things like, hey, where's my ticket? We have to give it to someone who is a student or like someone else, or maybe a showcase thing. And when people know that you're working on something, that's also a big thing. Then it's really easy to be in the talk about like, hey, do you want to join? Do you want to showcase these things? And yeah, be there. And right now, totally unrelated, because we announced that actually on Thursday, the GodotFest with everything. We also work on free tickets for students and educators in the Nordic region, because like especially Sweden, but I would assume also in Finland. I just don't know so many in Finland. Godot is a really, really big student engine. A lot of people use it, and what we are working right now is just to get free tickets for people in Scandinavia for the GodotFest to join us in Munich, because the event is happening in Munich, because we decided that at some point, and it's easy to get there for internationally. And that's it. I hope I'm not way too short, Emma. That was okay, but I'm open for question.
I at least got a question, since you moved from somewhere else and started kind of with a small team. What were some of the struggles that you had to go through, or some things that you would do differently now when you have done it like once or started doing it?
The infrastructure in Finland is amazing for starting companies and getting support for this. In Germany, the only benefit you get when you make games is basically you get cash in your hand, which is like a big thing. And for like, if you never got that, it's of course then it sounds really good, but in Germany, that's it. Like you get cash and then you burn it and you don't have anything in the end. Here you get a lot of infrastructure that really helps you. And one thing that I tried, or like where I was trying a lot, was I hired a lot of like my idea was to I get an intern from the art university here. Novia has like art program in Swedish, so graphic designer and visual artist and these things. And I take people who are interested in games, who participated in the game jams, and then they can start as an intern, and then I like them, and then I hire them in the company. Um, I tried that with 3 interns, and then it turns out that there's so much more to game development that you need a game art intern basically to have like an artist that's really capable of doing a lot of things. Otherwise, they are maybe amazing artists. For example, Ellie, as I said, is also an amazing artist, but and Ellie knows games, I know that as well. But when they kind of like have more this traditional education, it's really hard to get them into all these as an indie studio and all these little things they have to do as well, like importing your art in the game engine, maybe even arrange it there, make it look like pretty in the engine and everything. That's all skills that you can of course teach and stuff, but that game students have that already. And what we did now as well, from the beginning of next semester, you can study game art at Novia, and yeah, that problem will be solved then as well. So that's also something I was working on the latest years. That there's a game studies now here, and the idea is of course the same with like I want to have a company with like local people working and not freelancers from, like, for example, the train game was made from someone from here, someone from Germany, and another freelancer. And it's kind of like, it's so nice to have an office, to have everyone in. And I would love to kind of have as a small team, an office with the people locally, and because there's so much more passion and impact than when you have everyone remote. And I guess that's the main thing I would change, getting this way earlier, this game education, and shaping basically already the students to what you want to have, and then going with the mindset I want to recruit one of them. So now I, for example, also started teaching a little there, and the only thing I do that is I want to see who is the most fitting into my team, and still want to make the game studio, still make games, but didn't release anything. So it's a little sad. Like for my studio, released a lot of things not for my own studio. For example, Mindlock and Qatar and these things. Thank you very much, Emma. Thank you very much, the team, and thank you for having me.